Hello everyone and welcome back. Path of Exile 2 is a very complex game, with so many different things to learn and master. You've just killed that tough boss, and he's dropped an item that you think is amazing. But how can we tell? In this video I'm going to be explaining how to tell if you've got an amazing item, with some easy tips, tricks and strategies to follow. So let's get started. So before we take a look at some specifics, let's try and understand the basics of items. Items in Path of Exile 2 come in 4 flavors. You've got normal white items, blue magic items, yellow rare items, and orange unique items. White items are white items. Nothing special here. Blue magic items can have up to 2 mods. Yellow rare items can have up to 6 mods. Unique items are variations of specific item bases, and these can be both amazing and terrible, depending on the item. A new player might think that because an item is rare or unique, it's immediately worth more than a magic or even a normal item, but this isn't always the case. So, with item color and rarity out of the way, let's talk about item bases. Every single item in the game stems from a specific item base and item type. Boots, for example, are considered a different type of item to body armor or a weapon. Each item category has several different bases to split things up even further. One quick way to identify if an item is good or not is by considering what type of character we're playing and understanding what we need on our build. For example, if I'm playing a Frost Monk using evasion as my primary defense, I want to look for body armor that has dexterity on it, increasing my evasion stat. We can safely ignore all other body armor bases that have intelligence or strength on them. They might work if rolled properly, but I'm looking for dexterity and evasion over everything else. So, diving a little deeper, we can see that there's a total of 24 different body armor bases that have dexterity on them. So we've already narrowed down our choices a lot since we've started. If you look at the bases themselves, you'll notice that some items have the word expert or advanced next to them. Items that are advanced are better than normal items. Expert items are better than advanced items. You can see that each item base increases its base defensive stats as the level gets higher, so higher level items will often be better than lower level ones. But this isn't always the case. To maximize our time and effort sifting through drops, if we're playing an Evasion Frost Monk, we can ignore nearly half of this list. We only care about expert and higher level items. This obviously changes depending on what you can afford or what level item you can equip. Now we understand item bases and item categories. This information can help you make a quick and snappy decision to avoid wasting time. So let's take things one step further and identify our item, and start looking for mods. Most items will have what we call explicit and implicit mods. Implicit mods are always found on that specific item, regardless of its rarity, and explicit mods are the ones that follow afterwards. These will be completely random. Implicit mods are specific to that item base and will always be found on the item regardless of its rarity. Implicit mods are rolled randomly between 2 values, just like everything else. Explicit mods are the mods found after the implicit, and they can be completely random, and usually, this is what you'll be looking at to see if an item is good or not. If you press and hold Alt while looking at an item, you can see the tier which rolled for that specific mod. For example, an explicit life modifier rolled at tier 10 is going to be better than one rolled at tier 1 100% of the time. This can be taken even further if you consider the fact that 2 items with a tier 5 life roll can still have different values, rolled within that tier itself. You can use this to quickly identify if an item is good or not based on its tiers. Take this rare item for example. It's a rare, so it has 6 mods, and it's the best item base for our evasion build, because it provides the most dexterity out of all of the body armors in the game. If we look at the mods, we can see that it has elemental resistances, life, and evasion rating. Even though this item has pretty cold, lightning, and cold resistance values, it's still a good item because it has all of these stats. Compare it to this item, and we can see that this time this base is worse than the previous one, because it has less evasion overall. In terms of the mods on this item, you can see that we've got useless ones like life regeneration, stun threshold, reduced attribute requirements, and physical thorns damage. These are generally pretty useless and take up space that could be used for better mods instead. So, even though both of these items are rare and have 6 mods each, they're still very different in terms of how good they are and how much they might cost. If the first item had even better resistance rolls, it would drive up the price even more. Now this is just one simple example. When you play the game and find items for yourself, you'll get ones that have a mix of good and bad modifiers, so you'll need to learn what stats you actually want to see if you're weighing up the price. As a general rule of thumb, on most good items, you're looking for primary defenses like evasion, energy shield, armor, life modifiers, resistance modifiers, and so on. And getting to know which stats you want will greatly speed up the time it takes to sift through a mountain of crap. Here's a big list of modifiers that you'll probably want to prioritize when looking for gear. Of course, this becomes more complicated when you factor in the fact that different item types can have different modifiers, such as weapons having damage modifiers that most armor will never have, or the fact that boots can have movement speed while helmets can't. You can use these same ideas when searching for items on the trade website as well. Rather than going in like a headless chicken and looking for all body armors, we can now narrow down our search to only specific ones. If we do a search for only expert serpent scale coats, we can now more easily narrow down our choices, sorting by which mods we want the most. We can even do a search for the highest evasion rated coat on the market in one single click. Add in a price range, and then we've got a small pool of items that we can pick from without going mental. This item, for example, is probably less valuable overall than this item because of the useless mods that occupy space for more useful mods. It's not too difficult to start understanding if an item is good or bad once you understand the basics, and with time and practice, you'll easily be able to identify if an item is worth crafting, selling, or just leaving on the ground. If you're interested in learning more about crafting in general, check out the guide on my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned something new, drop me a like or sub to the channel for more content and let me know down below what you want to see next. And, as always, have a great day.